2, 1. We're live. Welcome, guys. Hello. Got audio. I can see it's working. It's already a good start. And you know what? I need that. I have been in a lot of pain still, so I'm happy to be here.
Do we have any doctors or nurses that watch? We need your advice.
Specifically in the gynecology, lower abdomen
Region.
I I had my scan and
No further light has been shed.
yeah, do you know what there's like? I had so many things that I was going to say about it. Just like, you know what? I'm going to have a rant about these things that could be improved and this and that. And now I've started talking. I'm just like, I feel like if I start talking, I might actually start crying. It's just been such a stressful, annoying time.
Well, with any health concern, there's a lot of anxiety around it anyway, isn't there? So when there's no answers, it just kind of, I suppose your mind will just keep whirring on, you know?
Yeah, I suppose I summed it up the best earlier when we were talking. I just said, like, if this is a normal amount of pain that I'm supposed to be feeling because I am a woman, it's just the cards that I'm dealt. Some women have way more painful times of the month. If that is all that is, then I'm okay to exercise, lift things. I know that I'm not putting any more damage on myself by doing stuff because I don't want to be stationary for much longer. But at the same time, like, I can manage the pain eventually. But if there is something wrong, and I can end up like rupturing or doing something to something, or if I'm ignoring, I don't know, if they're not doing thorough enough tests, all the anxiety is like, that's way bigger than the pain right now.
Yeah.
But I don't want to carry on about that too long anyway, because that is just downer.
But if we do have people watching this so that are in the medical field, please do reach out to us, because any avenues of avenues of research.
Yeah. If you've got a little dollop of knowledge, if you think it might be helpful, please send it my way. I will happily follow that route, because I haven't got a clue at the minute. And but yeah.
But distraction for now is the best tool.
Distraction 100%. And that's what you guys are here for, to distract me.
We have got a very exciting session planned, haven't we?
I'm really excited for this session. I don't know if you caught last week's, but we were talking about something and it got us into realising that you had an internal conflict. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well,
a constant internal conflict since the day I was born.
There you go. That's a good one to start with. And I was like, well, why don't I get my therapist hat on and combine some parts work and art therapy to try and have a look into this. So I am going to run the intro.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you on the side.
See you in a sec.
Why is it like this? The haters should be loved, we invited. You don't agree, then you're the problem that we're fighting. Open up your mind, stand up, become righteous. Why is it like this? Instead of haters should be loved, we invited. You don't agree, then you're the problem that we're fighting. Open up your mind, stand up, become righteous.
Hello. We are back. Sorry, the screen over there is a little further out than it normally is. I'm struggling to see what it says on there, but I can see it now. Have we got anyone in the chat? Is there anyone there?
I'm just going to move my head just quickly so you can see the awesome light that we've got behind. Look. How cool is that?
On air.
I love it.
We are on air. And yeah, eventually that will be attached to the wall.
Yeah, exactly. Not hiding behind my head, but it's there, and that's what counts.
I am getting my presentation up because you're probably wondering, Steph, what is an internal conflict? Lindsay's sure she's had one since birth, apparently. A hardcore one. But you might be thinking, I don't really understand what an internal conflict is. So I thought I'd take you on a little react cam. And I love a PowerPoint.
Oh yeah, indeed.
So parts work in art therapy, exploring internal conflicts.
I like the colour scheme.
I thought that would change the thing. I'm not gonna lie, that did. So, what is an internal conflict, and how do you know if you have one? So, an internal conflict is often seen when you can't make a decision about something. So, and that's just one aspect of it, but it could be, I really want to be with this person, I really want to make it work. And then the other half of you is like, I don't see a future with this person and I don't know why I keep trying to make it work. And you go backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. And this is an internal conflict.
Can it even be a kind of personality thing? Like when I was discussing earlier, so I've got these 2 tattoos to represent the angel and the devil, in terms of feeling like I'm 2 separate people sometimes. Like I want to do the right thing and I want to do the spiritual thing, but then I want to do the bougie savage thing, and stuck between those 2 identities almost. So that could be creating an internal conflict.
100%, but at the same time, it's understanding that even without internal conflicts, we have many parts of self. And there's different modalities that look at it different ways. There's one that compares the self to a house. Like the kitchen is where all the stuff gets made, it gets fueled. Then the bedroom is where you relax, the bathroom is where you self-care, all this different. It's a very nice idea of it. It's a really good poem, actually, and I can't think of what it is now. But
see, even that though, my internal conflict of what kind of house do I want to be? Partly I want to be a big, huge, showy mansion, and partly I want to be this non-show-offy wooden shack.
There you go. You've got a lot of internal conflict.
Where does it come from? Help me.
And I think that's common, right? I think a lot of people think like especially with that, like, oh, I'd love a little cottage, but also I'd love that huge mansion in LA. And again, I think that's just us dreaming and being like,
yeah,
it's not as an important thing, but something like a relationship or maybe going for a job, something that you might find, I just want to be a doctor, and you keep taking your exams, but you don't pass, you back to the start again, or being a lawyer, there's something that takes a lot of effort, a lot of time, but you keep ending back up at that original place again.
If you feel like you keep ending up back and you're not making that progress.
I know a lot of people switch between, I want to go self-employed, and then being like, oh my God, this is really stressful. I actually can't manage all like the books myself. I'll get employed. And then that's like, I don't want a boss. I hate being told what to do, blah, blah, blah.
That is the cycle of my life. But more so, I would go into a job because I think I just need simplicity. I just need to go to work, earn my wage and go home and not care too much, not invest too much. And then a few months in, I'd be like, I'm wasted. I need more of a challenge. And then I'd find a more challenging job. And then a few months into that, I'd be like, oh, I just need simplicity, that, I just need to earn a wage and go home. And it was like backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards.
I think that in itself is ADHD tax.
Do you think? Yeah. And I wonder whether there's going to be people watching this that are relating to what I'm saying, and this constant battle of who am I, that is just partly part of the ADHD spectrum.
Yeah, I think it's an aspect that we definitely relate harder to. Definitely, 100%. And just that being unsure of yourself.
I just want to put it out there now as well, that we're not saying that you have to dissolve one part of yourself, because you made that clear to me earlier, didn't you? It's more of a kind of finding a peace between all of these parts of self.
Yeah, 100%.
Helping them to get along rather than argue at the detriment of your progress.
100%.
Okay.
And this is a good way of explaining it. And like you said, we went over earlier.
Yeah.
When you're born, this is what your consciousness, this represents your consciousness. It's all one. You are one thing. But gradually throughout life, things happen, and this consciousness splits into multiple parts, and they develop different parts of yourself. And they're not always negative. Like here, maybe your best friend showed you a band and you went to go and see them live, and suddenly they are all you can think of, and you've got this part of you that's just like, they're my favourite band. It's not all a negative thing, but a lot of our internal conflicts come from the splitting of the consciousness as we grow up.
So can a traumatic event, like a heartbreak, for example, cause these internal conflicts to then rear their heads later on in life.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand that trauma is just when we experience something very stressful, frightening, or very distressing events that are difficult to cope with, or a bit out of control. It's not understanding that trauma isn't always that you were abused by a loved one or whatever. It could be something very simple as when you were younger, how often did your parents come to you? How quickly did they come when you cried? Or, you know, just them early lessons. And each time that happens, your consciousness would split. You have the self, and what would happen is you'll end up with half of you being the vulnerable self and that other half being the coping mechanism that's basically there to protect that vulnerable self.
So I wonder almost if this, when I'm talking about, and then I've got this savage side, that's the coping mechanism side.
Does that feel like the more dominant side? The one that comes out without you even planning? The one...
I don't know. I mean, we're going to try and hopefully work that out, because for me, it's very much more who I wake up on that day being. Do you see what I mean? Like, some days I can wake up and be really vulnerable and really kind of feel really pure and spiritual and forgiving and, you know, all light and nice, that kind of thing. And some days I can wake up and be like a badass.
Yes.
Not in a nasty way, but as in like a go-getter, powerful, more of a my masculine energy coming forward.
So I feel like, yeah, you've just touched on there, the masculine and the feminine energy. They can be very combative.
Yeah.
But this is the part where it highlights even more how we don't want to get rid of one of those parts.
Yeah.
Because it's like you say, these are valuable to you in different parts of your life. And it's about...
I just want them to get on.
We don't get rid of a part. We learn how their relationship can get a lot better and they can exist together. And yeah, so if you are having all these multiple selves, then your needs, your wants, your beliefs are going to be all contradictory. It's going to be hard for you. Like, who am I? Is basically how you end up feeling.
I'm relating to this so hard. And also feeling like so many people that I spend time with are going to be relating to this, because I feel like that confusion in who am I is what then causes half of the issues.
Definitely.
You know?
And these wants, like you said, oh, well, I want this house, but also I could live in this house. And this is this thing. This is contradicting because you don't fully understand who is that self.
Yeah. It's that kind of... I don't really like when people are overly materialistic in terms of, you know, when they're constantly talking about brand names as though it's the be all and end all. But then on the other hand, I do like nice clothes and branded clothes. So I have that internal conflicts all the time of you're a contradiction kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
And then you feel bad because you feel like I really ought to be singing from the same hymn sheet, not saying one thing and thinking the other.
Yeah, I think understanding that humans are multifaceted, this idea that you are just this one thing in one area of a life and that's how everyone sees you. Whereas like the person that delivers your Amazon packages, you don't need to know how loving and nurturing this man is. Yeah. But there's people in his life that know. Yeah. He goes, oh, cute puppy videos, or they know that, you know, he gets a bit wasted at the weekend. Like, people have different selves that they show to different parts of the world and at different times. Yeah. And understanding that that's okay.
Yeah, and that's kind of how we get along in life.
If you're the same, like, imagine being on a roller coaster and just being like, you got to have different reactions, different emotions, different things. But at the same time, if you're going on a roller coaster with someone younger than you, you might not want to react too like, because maybe you want to be supportive. Yeah, it's...
So with this traumatic event and then the self-splitting with the vulnerable and the coping mechanism, that's almost how we see narcissism or personality disorders happening. A truly traumatic event causes the coping mechanism to take over and defend the vulnerable side to the point where it's then detrimental.
100%. And the quicker you can get aware of this, the better. So like we said, it's about harmonizing. And the first step is become aware. What are these conflicting, branched out aspects of self? And then explore what are the relationships between them, which is what we're going to do with the art therapy.
I'm never going to feel lonely ever again. I'm looking at this like these are all versions of me and they're all interacting. Right? And, you know, like... How
much nicer does that look than that? That looks awful. That is like the most like stressful looking figure to me. It looks like an alien that's like, I don't know.
I love that. This, yeah.
Harmony.
Yeah, yeah.
I can get with this. So yeah, and then it's about just creating a solution where both parts can exist. And again, we can do that through creative modalities as well. So are you ready to get started?
Yeah, I'm kind of like nervous.
Okay, so I'm going to run through just briefly, and I don't want anyone to think that I am adopting this, like, came up with this. It's very common.
This is where you've done your training. This is, you know, your forte, isn't it? This is your knowledge, your passion.
I love this work, the combining of the, because I know a lot of people are like, art therapy, how can you get anything? And I hope this can maybe show you how art therapy works. Yeah. So I'm going to explain briefly, very quickly actually, how it's going to go down, and then I'm going to get out of the way so that you can get to it. So we're going to have 3 spaces, and if you want to follow along at home, all you need is
Definitely follow along at home. I don't want to be doing this alone.
an array of art materials. There's honestly, that's a very small amount. Get as many or as little as you want. Maybe you're like, you know what, I am just a pencil kind of person. You just get a pencil. And you're going to want 3 pieces of paper, as well as 2 chairs, 2 spaces. We don't have space for 2 chairs right now, so I'm going to move back and allow for you to, I'll just swap from where you're going to be sitting. So we're going to start by first identifying the conflict, and it'll explain basically what you're feeling, what you're bringing to the table. And then I'm going to ask you to sit in the middle of these 2 spaces and just center yourself. Take some deep breaths, however you like to just clear your mind.
Okay.
And then I'm going to ask you which is your dominant side.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to sit wherever your dominant side of the body is. I know you're left-handed. I don't know if that means you're just dominantly on your left.
Yeah, I can't coordinate this. My right hand.
Okay. Well. So your dominant side, I will ask you to sit here. In this place, when you're sat here, take a few moments, as long as you need, to really become that part wholly.
Okay.
Shut out that pathetic, vulnerable part of you that doesn't have a chance anyway. Just get rid of them and just embrace all of that. Now I'll ask you to express that with whatever mediums you want. And then we'll center in the middle, clear off that energy, and repeat again for the right side.
Okay.
Okay, so I will get everything sorted. Do you know what your internal conflict is?
I'm not sure if. Sorry, I just whistled then. I hope that didn't. I'm not sure if this is too broad, but for me, it is just that kind of. Am I a spiritual, nurturing person, or am I a go-getting? Is that too much of a broad conflict?
But what is the conflict you want to resolve?
I feel like I'm a contradiction. I feel like maybe that's why I don't see the success that I want to see in the content sometimes, because it's all over the place. 1 minute it's preaching about this, and the next minute it's bringing this to the table, and you know, it's like, what are you trying to do?
So I see the conflicts being, I want to fine tune this, but I've got so much that I want. How do I block that out and know that I'm blocking the right things out? Focus on.
Definitely. I mean, even like the conflict can be, I love nurturing people and I want to be around people and I want to be a healer, and then the other part of me wants to run away, live on my own, and never have to deal with anyone ever again.
Okay, perfect. We've just found the conflict.
Okay, is that,
yes.
That's a good one.
Which one of you is the strongest? And I don't mean necessarily the one that you want to.
Yeah.
Definitely don't mean the one you want to be the most like. Which one rules your life more? And even if it means, you know, I want to be this free thing, but there you are at work, are you still thinking about, I'd rather be there right now, because that would be the dominating force?
I'm not sure, because if it takes a lot for me to actually do the running away part for me to go that far, so would that be the not so dominant side? Because I will get to the point where I'm just like, forget it.
Is that the only way that manifests, the running away part?
Yeah, it's almost like I'm very all or nothing, which again has come out as the ADHD, another part of my ADHD, where it's like I'll give it my all, and then suddenly it's like line under it. That's it, done.
Which side would you say negatively hinders you more?
Definitely the kind of withdrawing and drawing a line and stuff. Well,
Okay.
and there is positives to it, because there's been great positives in knowing when to draw a line, you know, and knowing when to shelve an idea. Because the thing is, sometimes you can put so much effort into something that you end up flogging a dead horse. And I'm not that person. I can know when to draw the line. So it has been beneficial, but I suppose it's took a while to see. Because before, when I didn't know, for example, in my 20s, if something went wrong, I would literally get in my car and leave the city, or, you know, go on holiday and not come back, for example. Like when I went,
Just that straight avoidance. I don't want to deal with this right
yeah, it'd be like, if something's too complicated or too painful or too frustrating, the avoidance is there.
Okay, yeah. So I'm seeing that, because I thought before you were painting it as this, like, I'm free, you can't hold me down. But now I'm seeing more of a, I don't want to deal with this, get me away. It's not necessarily like, I'm free, riding off into the sunset.
Yeah, yeah.
That is masking the, because I just don't want to be back there.
yeah. I mean, there's like, obviously the older I've got, I am getting to the point where I understand it a bit more.
Okay. So I would challenge you to lock into the parts of you that feel just want to run away, that avoidant, and then you've got that other part of you that
wants to be
wants
a
to
nurturer
stay
and wants
nurturing.
to do the right thing.
Would you say, and without getting into details, I'm definitely not about, don't want to get into your relationship stuff.
Yeah.
In arguments, do you leave? Are you the one that leaves?
If I feel like I'm not being listened to, or
Yeah, for whatever reason you have.
I have a lot of flight.
Okay. So yeah, I feel like this is that is that dominant side coming out when it comes to those intense moments.
Yeah, I'm gone.
That's you showing. So I'm gonna get out of the way and I'll let you center in the middle.
Yeah.
And I'll adjust and I'll get this more out of the way.
So everyone at home, then, you need to be centering yourselves as well if you're going to be taking part in this, because it is hard. Because again, they're battling. They're almost trying to take over in my head and tell me what I should be thinking now.
Yeah, definitely. And if you are taking part, please be mindful and look after yourselves. I don't want you in a situation where you're upset and unable to talk to someone. Comment in the chat. Say hello. Who have we got so far? Lord, yes, Lindsay, you got supports, babe.
Hey.
Kat, hi girls. Hey, Kat. I'll look after yourselves.
Hey, Dylan. Hey, Kat. I'm going to be centering myself. So I'll be quiet for a couple of minutes now. So, am I locking into the dominant flight?
The dominant side, which would be your left, if you say.
The flighty.
So you want to be going.
Hey, Camelot. Shout out to Taz as well. This is brilliant. So happy that you could all join us. Okay, sorry.
Okay, so with, again, oh, a minute.
Oh, is it? So that it's on my page?
Yes. I want you to have your own facial expressions to yourself, because that might be a bit more of a personal thing. But I want everyone to be able to see what you are creating. So, again, a very limited amount of, but we'll take 5 minutes for you to express. And remember, this isn't about painting a picture. It's not about creating an actual picture necessarily. Just express. What does that part of you? Oh, before you do this as well, take a few moments to become that person. Just like you centered yourself for a little moment. You know, hold the materials if it helps you, and become that fully dominant person. Try your hardest to shut out that vulnerable side, that side of you that wants to be more nurturing, that understands the value in being more of a soft approach. That part of you that sticks around, we're getting rid of that. She doesn't exist right now. some music set up.
Words on it.
You can use whatever words you want. To be fair, words will be a part of the next part, so if anything, hold them.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. So we're going to be focusing on art and written word, but you can take this as far as you want. For example, you could add sound. Really think about how that part of you, if they were to have a sound, if they were to have a voice, how would they sound? And again, you can do it with movement. How would this part of you move if they were to be your entire being? And a reason for using all these different creative modalities is it helps us to unlock memories that were formed before we even had speech, when we were just expressing what we needed to our parents, when a time when some of these traumas may have happened. Like I said, please be mindful to look after yourself during this process. That's why we do the centering ourselves and shaking off that energy when we need to, because we don't want it to stick with us. Just going to take another 2 minutes. Just another minute now. If you're just tuning in, we are doing some art therapy. Lindzi is currently on her most dominant part of her internal conflict. She's currently expressing this entire part of herself within the creative modality of art. I hope you're all enjoying the art materials at home. Sometimes just getting them out and being able to just drag them across the page and get that emotion out is really nice. And then you have certain people that create tiny little pictures in the corners. That's quite a common one I see. And we'll take about 20 seconds. Obviously, no rush. And when you feel ready yourself, I want you to center yourself back into the middle and just shake off all of this energy.
Okay. Shake off. Ooh.
Have you ever seen a dog shake itself off after it gets told off or after something happens? If it hits its nose on something or falls over, it'll shake off all that energy. That is a physical restart. You don't have to jump in an ice bath. Still looking for my ice bath if anyone wants to invite me.
Please do. Just because it's just the most nutty thing to want to do it.
Okay, take a few minutes to yourself, or well, as long as you need to center yourself. You know how best to do that. You know your body. So let me know when you're ready, and you just repeat the same process again, but for your least dominant side.
So, this side now then.
As you can see, Lindzi is now operating purely from her most vulnerable side. So the
Whole energy feels different.
is it? How does it feel different?
Calm.
Calmer.
Feels almost not sad. That's not the right word. But
You want the sheet?
oh, where's it?
I'll get this sheet out to you as soon as possible, guys, and you can use it for yourselves.
It's more of a kind of. It is more of an exhausted kind of feeling where it's like. But I suppose that's because she's so fed up of being suppressed by Miss Dominant over there.
Yeah, man, I can imagine. It's a rocky relationship between these two parts, and I'm hoping that towards the end of this you'll have more of an understanding, if not.
I've already understanding, and even understanding why I might have found relationships difficult in the past. Because if I'm these two extreme characters that are constantly in conflict,
Right. How does anyone operate around you?
Yeah.
How do you operate with yourself? It's if you are just catching us now, just tuning in, then you may have missed us saying that this dominant side forms itself purely to protect that vulnerable part of us. That vulnerable part is more often, if not every time, our true selves. And again, we don't want to fully get rid of that coping mechanism because we don't want to be complete fools in life. Sometimes these things do help us. But it's understanding to what extent is it serving you. Because if these two parts of you can marry up and become harmonized together,
be unstoppable.
you will be laughing. We're going to take a few more minutes, say 2 minutes.
If anybody is creating art at home and they're willing or happy to share, you know, and you've got social media, it'd be lovely to see them on your stories, tag us.
Please do. I'd love to see them. And maybe you've mentally done this in your head because you haven't got any supplies with you. I fully understand that person. I am that person most of the time. Share. What did you learn anything? Did you fix anything? Was there a penny drop moment?
There certainly is for me already. It's already kind of making me feel like I can see that this person, the vulnerable caring side, had to toughen up and become, you know, become more savage because the world is.
100%. You adopted this coping mechanism for a reason. The thing I like about both parts work and person-centered art therapy is neither of them look to solve a problem necessarily. It's about just becoming aware, understanding that what really does do you bad in the dark cannot survive in the light. Just talking about it, just being aware of these parts of self.
And this is the thing, this awareness raising that we're always trying to do, it really gets my back up when people say, we don't need more awareness. We do. You know, people themselves need to be more aware of who they are and how that can impact. And, you know, we're not just talking awareness like, oh, everyone's ADHD. We're talking awareness of just everybody can benefit from it.
100%. Internal conflicts are not just for those who are mentally ill. We've all got them, and it's probably the most common form of mental struggle. I want to be a certain way, I want to do a certain thing, but I just keep, you know, maybe this for you is, I really want to quit smoking. I go to bed every night thinking about, I can't breathe, I feel ill, and then by the next morning you're like, oh, whatever, I'll have that morning fag, and it goes away again. This is an internal conflict.
Wow, yeah, just totally suffering with that for 20 years. Every single night making promises that tomorrow I'd be strong and I wouldn't give in. And then tomorrow would come and I'd just talk myself back into it.
100%.
And then I'd go to bed every night with that fear of, you have got to stop this at some point. When are you going to stop?
And it's like, how do I get these parts to marry each other when they never meet? They never seem to be around at the same time.
Yeah, one takes over from the other. And also, if I start arguing with myself in the street, I'm going to get sectioned.
Normalize arguing with yourself in the street because you might just be figuring it out.
I did see someone, I went to the cafe earlier with one of my students and I saw someone having a full-on chat with themselves and I was like, wow, that is cool.
Love that.
Yeah, totally awesome. Draw a little leaf on there and then
Yeah. Okay, so before we move on, I think it would be cool to analyze some of these pictures. So I'll come back next to you and we'll have a chat about them.
Here she comes.
There's got to be a better design for this. Okay, so oops. Our on-air sign is gone. Hopefully you guys are still there. Does actually reflect our on-air status. Okay, so did anyone do any of that? Did anyone enjoy any of that? Like I said, get it in the chat, get it in the comments, because I'm really intrigued. I want to see how you found this process so far. And we're not at the end, nowhere near the end. But I just wanted to stop now to get a bit of an understanding with your dominant side.
Okay.
So if I hold it up,
Yeah.
what comes to mind there? What's coming up for you? Because I see a lot of the black initially stood out as like a strong.
Yeah.
It's bold.
There's no bold.
There's no tiny little like frilly. It is all very blocked.
Decisive.
And then there's just this very strong, I want to say aggressive colour in the middle, but still beautiful.
The colour is, when I kind of try and picture it, it is bold, it's colourful, it's vibrant. It's attracted to that kind of, you know, I was thinking of the stickers that I've got in my diary, for example. I'll just quickly hold it up so that other people can see it. But that kind of mishmash of, you know, extravagant, bold colours. The bricks are on there because I was thinking of like brick wall that I build around myself, and the box because I'll box things away. I don't want to show that I'm vulnerable. The word independent kept coming up, not wanting to ask for help, showing strength, those kind of things.
You said about these words and I'll ask you to write them down in a. I'll get you to do it. Don't worry. So when you were looking at that, what were the words that came up for you?
Independent.
Give them right down.
And that, I mean, independent kept coming up, but then the word toxic, you know, as well. But I don't know whether that's just because I'm understanding that this side could become quite toxic.
Whatever is coming to you, there is no right or wrong. If you've thought it, then get it down.
I'm not asking for help, like, you know, doing it alone kind of thing.
Yep.
But then also things like success and vibrancy, bold, being the kind of queen of my own castle, and you know, that kind of thing.
So before you go any further with that, because I don't want to give you too hard a task.
Yeah.
Try and write a sentence for me, or 2 sentences. They can rhyme if they want to, if that's what comes out, but they don't have to.
Yeah.
But just that ties in all those words and phrases you've just used there. Yeah. A really short bit of text. And why I'm asking Lindzi to do that is because we're almost creating a dialogue for this person. We can see now visually how it's represented, how it manifests within Lindzi. And now we can see, and Lindzi's a wordsmith. If you've never tuned in before, and
I can be. I was giggling about when we did the parallel vibe tribe on Thursday. He was, how are you feeling? I was like, great. And then you were like, this is coming from an author.
It was late at night. Then parallel, again, working title, writer. We need a better title.
The Odd Jobs. I think we're going to go with something like that, aren't we?
I like Odd Jobs. Yeah. Definitely.
I like the whole word odd anyway.
We are. But yeah, this forms a dialogue for this entire part of yourself.
So, I mean, the word toxic hasn't ended up in the sentence, but I think overall you could understand, and the word independent, but it's kind of maybe that's what it encapsulates. So a bold, successful, vibrant queen who doesn't need help.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. Okay, that's giving me shivers. I love that. Get it in the chat. What did you get for yourself? Okay, she's a writer. Oh, sorry,
that's all right.
Pushing your foot. Now I want you to do the exact same with the other side. So if I hold it up, again, completely different contrast. The colours, for one, everything is colour. There is no black there. I don't believe there is. No. There's loads of pinks and a lot of symbols for things that just make me happy, just looking at them.
Yeah.
So can you explain what you get when you look at this? What happened for you when you...
It's like that connection to the universe, to nature, connections to other people, feeling spiritual, the flower in the middle, the kind of that flowers they're tough and they're strong, but they're beautiful as well. And, you know, and then even like the cycles with the sunshine and the moon, just those big big bodies that exist in the universe.
Almost like a bit, it's bigger than me.
Yeah, I think that understanding that I am just a component in this whole big cycle and that everything is a cycle. That circle, is there a circle on there? I think I did a circle. Yeah, to represent just that flow. And I suppose part of me just wants to be that flow. But then I think when I am this person, I'm much more likely to get hurt.
Right, okay. So it might be sunshine and rainbows, but it is that vulnerable side.
Yeah.
It is that.
It's too, I feel like this is innocent, whereas that's independent. This side is like innocent and just wants the best for people, and you know.
So you've already used a few words. Whichever ones you want, again with the words, and then go in with the sentence, the small text. It could be a few sentences. Just trying to use in those key words that you initially get when you look at your piece.
I feel like I should have paid for this therapy session. I'm like,
You can if you want.
very cathartic. Okay, so then put it into a sentence.
The sentence doesn't have to make sense either. It could be fully abstract. It could be a statement. It could be a question. Words are coming up for you guys at home. Is anything becoming a little more clearer?
Okay.
Okay, what have we got for your vulnerable side?
Innocent nature loving healer seeking meaningful connection with the universe.
That just the way that flows is a lot more softer, isn't it? Even in the comparing the two, this is a bold, a successful, it's like down. This is
you can see why I suffer internal conflict straight away from those two sides.
100%. These are contradicting, like night and day.
Yeah.
So now that you've got the words, you've got the visual, you've basically got two separate parts of you created right here. And like I said, you can then add visuals, sounds. For example, if I was to look at this, everything seems very rigid.
It'd be like
boom.
Millie Mander's rock music going on over that one where it's I'm not okay.
100%. And whereas this one, I'm getting dancing in a field.
Yeah.
I'm getting like
Daisy
I could just tiptoe to the end of that moon and just point my toe for as long as I could. Can't do any of that. Maybe I can, you don't know. So these two contradicting parts, now what do we do? Well, as I said many times before this, we harmonise. So one way that you can do it, and I won't get you to do it now because I haven't actually got any glue on me, is to mix these pictures together.
Yeah.
You could cut out bits of this, you could cut out bits of this, stick it together, and then you redo this process again from the centre and you look at it. How do these fit together? Ah, I see, you know what? There's colour on both of these.
Yeah.
I am a bright for, take from it what you need for it, but you are a writer. So I think the most benefit will come from focusing on the words.
Yeah.
So, being your vulnerable side, taking on this person, what do you think of this person? And what words do you have for them? So you're not taking it from you now, you're taking it just that side.
Shall I write it down or shall I just say it?
You can do whichever seems more natural to you. Feel free to talk.
I feel quite intimidated, which is just bizarre.
It's
but
a strong side, right?
Yeah, like she's bossy, she's overpowering.
Even to you.
Yeah. But she gets stuff done. So I admire her.
She gets stuff done. So she's got her place. She doesn't need to be there all the time.
Yeah, and she needs to learn her place.
She needs to learn her place.
I just think she needs to learn to be more nice.
She's saying, hey, be more like me.
Vulnerable. Yeah. They could definitely learn from each other.
Yeah.
The last thing I'd want to do is intimidate other people, especially when my big push in life is trying to heal other people. But definitely over the years, I've had comments and overheard comments even. Like there was one time when I was in the pub and I'd heard this lad say, because my brother's called Jay, I heard them say, Jay's sister really scares me. And at the time, I took a lot of pride from that. I was like, good. I'm glad. You know, he didn't know I heard, but I remember feeling quite puffed up by it.
Your coping mechanism just did its job. It just caught a W then. Just like, cheers, yeah.
Yeah, that savvy, bold, confident kind of person. I was glad that she was being recognised. I suppose I was taught that this side, the innocent side, was a pathetic side. That's kind of the feelings that I get, that I've tried to make up for being pathetic.
So when this side, like going back then, when this side communicates to this side, it's telling it, thicken up.
Yeah,
toughen up.
Stop taking things to heart, you know.
You're going to get taken the pee out of?
Yeah, stop giving to everybody. And, you know, I suppose that, again, it's so obvious now because it's like, of course, she's protecting the side that has always given.
We have a protector, which we already knew it was there to protect anyway. But there's another level to protection, and I guess you can kind of see it in that feminine and masculine energy.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean,
like Dad wants to protect you, and Mum wants you to I just want you to be happy. I just want you to be okay. I just want things to be nice. And your dad's like, no, get up now. We need to get done.
There is elements of that. My mum is much more the kind of, that she was a very obvious feminine energy, and my dad was a very strong masculine energy.
Right.
It is those two clashes that I've now got within.
Exactly. I feel like that might have been where it starts and then where that builds from throughout your life. And little exercises like this just help you. And, you know, like you said, I don't have to get rid of any of these sides, but understanding when one's showing its head when it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Hey, no, this is this part's picture now.
I honestly feel like so kind of like I've genuinely shed some light on myself. Like, I feel like I need to ring a few people and be like, I am so sorry if I've confused you over the past few years about who the hell I am.
Oh, that's really sweet. So you've gained some understanding of who you are. That's really...
Big time. And I think the more important thing is I've gained some understanding as to why people may have reacted the way they have in the past to me, where perhaps if they've reacted a certain way and I've been the other person by then, and I've thought, why are they reacting like that? But they may have met the other version of me. And they're reacting to that.
You think we've met? We actually haven't. You caught me on that day, which meant you met old fucking Lindzi. I am Lindzi.
Yeah, like, hi, nice to meet you. Which version are you today? But yeah, I need to marry the two. And I think the one thing that I am, with age, I've realised it's okay to be soft and it's okay to be feminine. I think for a long time I was the toxic masculine kind of, you know, output. I didn't want to cry. I didn't want to show that weak side, and it has took a lot to accept that side and then to bring it through to the light and be like, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, from what you've just said, I've heard you, if I'm getting this right, that you've found that being feminine is just as strong.
I'm definitely finding that now, that there's as much power in this version as there, you know, this is almost a mask power, whereas this is a genuine power.
Yeah. Like any dog that's like...
Bury me to a dog.
My God. Any dog that's like, if you called its bluff, it probably wouldn't, but I wasn't... Oh, my word.
But there is that thing on Instagram where there's that dog that's being held back, and whilst it's being held back, it's like, and then as soon as they let it go, it's like, and backs up.
100%. It actually reminds me of... My partner showed it me this week. I haven't seen it before. It was a Bill Burr part in just one of his comedy specials from like 10 years ago. But he basically talks about him being mad and how his dog, he didn't realise his dog literally repeats that energy. So, you know, he'd be at home being like, oh, this doesn't work, and this is getting mad, and the dog would be in the corner like, yeah, I don't know what he's mad at, but yeah. Yeah, and you go for a walk and you'd be like, oh gosh, and then he'd see a dude, he'd be like, we're mad, right? Is it that guy? Yeah, that guy. And it would just
I read something earlier that I think links in. It said, once you start to understand how many people use projection as a way of coping, you'll start to take a lot less to heart. So it's like people, if they're angry, they're projecting that anger onto you.
Anyone's ever angry, obviously protect yourself if you feel like you're in it, but that's a bluff because that's not their true emotion. We've said it.
It's usually fear or, some kind of upset or something.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, thank you so much for doing that little activity with me, because
Oh, you're welcome.
I've gone from being kind of confused and almost apprehensive of, oh God, what if I do all this and then nothing really comes out of it? And,
You've got to be like, here's Steph.
well, like, oh no, it's not worked. You're a freak, Linz.
Oh, again, never take that away from therapy.
But yeah, to actually feeling like, wow, I've shed some light internally on the struggle that I'm going through and understanding where these tattoos came from. But it's definitely something that I think I could do with the students as well.
Definitely.
If
Such
any
an easy step. I've got the printout step by step thing as well.
Well, if any of you are still watching, you'll know what's coming in class tomorrow.
You can get ahead of them and be like, oh, I felt so expressive with
bring your work.
Get the sound and music into it. There's videos online where they go a lot further with it, and some woman will to all your heart content but I'm not doing it any more than just that.
I went back to breathwork last night and we did a mantra at the start. It was all about finding and expressing your inner voice that's been suppressed. And the mantra was so hum, which is a Sanskrit mantra for I that. So it's like I am the universe, or whatever it is. But it was so powerful. As soon as so hum. And there was only about 8 people in the room doing it, and I was like sobbing like through the emotion that was I mean, I've always reacted funny to music, very strange reaction to any kind of music, but oh my goodness, the emotions that came out last night was unreal. I'm addicted now, by the way. Breathwork. But
very cool.
I'm going to get you to come along to one, and
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we can talk about it a little bit more in the future.
Yes, if you haven't caught us last week we had the Parallel Tribe Vibe, whatever its name on there. Odd Jobs we're moving it to Instagram for the next one.
Yeah, I think we're going to go live on Instagram. It'll be Thursday, February the 1st. So we've still got a couple of weeks to go till the next one.
Yeah, definitely.
Goodness for that. No more cleaning till then. I'll save all my cleaning for when we go live.
Ain't it? And also Lindzi's lessons, if you haven't caught it already, there is one uploaded on A Different Human Design on that YouTube platform. The other one will be going up tonight. We got that one as well as, the Vlogmas, the well overdue Vlogmas. It will be coming.
I was hoping it was still, I hope you don't think, it's too late, I'm not going to do it.
Do you know what? It was almost going to happen, and I watched over it last night and I was like, I've got to post this.
It's too good.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It makes me almost wee watching it. So they will be out tomorrow. So if you haven't...
haven't checked out the YouTube channel recently to see what's on there, make sure you look at a few of our playlists. So we've just had one comment come in. I can't read it properly without my...
on camera, let's see if I can make this larger. Oh no.
So she's been working alongside of us, and it's made her think about the self, the two sides, and
Let's read it.
yeah.
So Kamala has said, I didn't have any paper, etc. handy. See, I understand. I'm exactly like that. But it made me think more about the self and how it is in between those two sides, and how coming through practice, how staying close to the middle can help me react differently. Yes.
Yeah, so balance, actually, I suppose that's right, actually, isn't it? It's not going to one side or the other side too extreme. It's trying to, like you say, harmonise those two sides.
Yeah, it's acknowledging both sides. I don't need to be swallowed by both of them. Just, yeah. I see you. There's place for you both.
I need to be like a like a caramel chocolate, like hard on the outside and soft on the inside or something.
I am so hungry, and you couldn't have said more of a thing to make my stomach rumble in 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh.
Well, we'll let everybody shoot and you can go and get some dinner then.
Please. I hope you're all hungried out as well if you've not eaten yet after that fun experience. After stuff like that, I'm always like tired and hungry.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll let you get off. It has been an hour already.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys. This is Lindzi.
And this is Steph.
We're a different human design.
And this is a different podcast. Good
Bye.
night.
Why is it like this? Instead of hate, should be love, we invited. You don't agree, then you're the problem, now we're fighting. Open up your mind, stand up, become righteous. Why is it like this? Instead of hate,